And a very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk, where we talk all things Brevard College athletics. Glad you're able to join us this evening. We're going to talk a lot of men's and women's basketball. Also, we'll have representatives from the Student Athlete Advisory Committee who coming off a trip to the NCAA convention. So excited to talk to them as well. I'm glad you're able to join us. We're going to catch you up on what's going on around the Brevard College athletics programs. Do want to thank our sponsors of Brevard College athletics before we get started. Really appreciate their support. Arby's, BSN Sports, eGolf Ford of Brevard, Hampton Inn, Ingles, Jets Pizza, Party Sports Medicine, Pepsi, Sully Steamers, Triangle Stop, and Young Transportation. Appreciate their support of Brevard College athletics, and do want to make a special recognition. Really appreciate all they've done this athletic year as we've started this partnership with Party Sports Medicine and Southeastern Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the official healthcare provider for the BC Tornadoes. In addition to the outstanding quality of care provided by the orthopedic doctors, Party also offers care in the areas of oncology, cardiovascular, primary care, and several subspecialties. Party Sports Medicine, proud partners with Brevard College athletics. Well, glad you're able to join us once again. We'll be talking some basketball in just a few minutes, but do want to mention the spring sports. And you can find all the spring sports schedules. They've all been released now on bctornadoes.com, which also has a composite schedule feature where you can really plan out your calendar this spring. Practices underway for several of the spring sports. Softball is already underway. Men's lacrosse actually had its first practice today. Women's lacrosse begins on this coming Sunday. Baseball 1 week from today. Tennis right around the corner as well. And looking forward to a lot of track and field this spring. Also, we're going to host the USA South Conference Track and Field Championships here at Brevard College. So get on bctornadoes.com, check out those spring sports schedules, and hope to see you at an event this spring at Brevard College. Well, a lot to catch up with in the world of men's and women's basketball. We'll start on the women's side. This past week, Brevard had a 75-62 win over Warren Wilson, and then they followed that up promptly with a 72-62 win over Pfeiffer in conference play. The Tornadoes were scheduled to head to William Peace over the weekend. However, due to some circumstances at William Peace, that game was forfeited by William Peace. The win goes to the Brevard College Tornadoes. Meanwhile, some breaking news. Michaela Street, USA South Rookie of the Week. Congratulations to Michaela. And women's basketball, meanwhile, continues to march on. 13-4 overall, 10-1 in the USA South Conference. Women's basketball next up will be at Southern Virginia. That's in Buena Vista, Virginia, this Saturday as conference play continues. And then the next home game is on Friday, February the 3rd, 6 p.m. at the Bosch versus NC Wesleyan. Meanwhile, in men's basketball, back-to-back wins on the road. That got started with a 77-72 win 8 days ago versus Methodist. And then that was followed up with a big 70-63 win on the road at Greensboro. The Tornadoes then hosted the number one ranked team currently in the standings of the USA South Conference, William Peace. William Peace got the better of the Tornadoes 82-78 in a very hotly contested, tough game at the Bosch. But a lot to feel encouraged about on that one. And then men's basketball at Pfeiffer on Tuesday. That's tomorrow at 7 p.m. as USA South Conference play continues. And then the next home game for the Tornadoes versus Mary Baldwin Saturday at 2 p.m. And with that, we're going to bring in our first guest of the program. Looking forward to welcoming into the program head men's basketball coach Lee Burgess. Coach Burgess, thanks for joining the show.
Always glad to be here, Phil. Thanks for having me on.
Well, we've got a lot to recap on the hard court, Coach, but I would like to get started, though, with a couple of special programs, sort of off the court, where, year in and year out, the men's basketball program and, the athletic department here at Brevard College continues to give back to the community and get behind a lot of these causes, branding certain games around these causes to really drum up support and interest. And the first one I want to mention is Jameson's Joy, which, at this past home game, we're able to welcome in those folks and, really have a lot of fun during halftime with a fundraising promotion there with the youth. And I know this is a cause very close to your heart, Coach. Please tell our audience even more about Jameson's Joy Day.
Yeah, so we've been doing a Jameson's Joy Day for a handful of years now. We do a game where we invite the Jameson's Joy organization out just to raise awareness for their organization, give them a chance to potentially raise some money. But Dan and Erica Cortine are members of the community. They are elementary school teachers, and their oldest son, Jameson, passed away very unexpectedly, very tragically. Several years ago, and on the other side of that, they've started this Jameson's Joy Foundation. The Ninja Park over by the rec department was put over there by the Jameson's Joy organization. So they've certainly done their part in the community as well. And Jameson is the same age as my oldest son, Lee, and they were buddies. And our families have gone to church together in the past as well. And so, they're members of the community, and strong members of the community that have gone through a tragedy, and we want to support them as best as we possibly can. And know that parents, when something like this happens, they really just want to keep a memory alive, keep a legacy going, and we're able to do that in a very, very small way by doing one game every year that highlights their organization. And we're happy to do it, and Dan and Eric are certainly, I know, appreciative of it. But really, it's us giving to them more than them giving to us.
Well, it's great to see the youth shooting baskets at halftime of the game, and they came out in full force for Jameson's Joy Day. That was, something Jameson enjoyed doing when he would visit Brevard College basketball. So that's a really cool kind of tie-in. And this was the 2022 Brevard Chamber of Commerce Nonprofit of the Year, Jameson's Joy. Go to jamesonsjoy.org. And I urge you to get involved. Really great work they're doing over there. And then this weekend, Coach, is, this is really a nationwide event, and really across all of college basketball, the way the whole sport has rallied behind this, the Coaches versus Cancer initiative. And I know we're branding this weekend's game exactly that. And I know you and Coach Leathers are ready to get involved with this as well.
Yeah, so it is really what it sounds. It's just coaches having a week here where we're bringing awareness to cancer and cancer research and all those things to fight that disease. But in the past, it's been the coaches will put on tennis shoes to wear with their suits. And so we've always done that, and now it's a little bit different because since COVID has hit, there's not a lot of coaches in suits anymore. They're in their their pullovers and maybe their golf shirts. I am old fashioned when it comes to that, and have continued to wear my suit. So I'll put on tennis shoes, but some of these other coaches are having to dust off the suits and put on their tennis shoes. The Duke Virginia Tech game is on right now, and Coach Shire has taken his pullover away. He's in his suit and he's got his tennis shoes on, and I think it's fun. I think coaches like doing it, and it's obviously for a good cause as well. So so tomorrow we'll be wearing tennis shoes at Pfeiffer, and then for our home game here Saturday, we'll be in our suits with our tennis shoes as well.
Very cool. Yeah, just great to see that happening across college basketball, and really proud to see Brevard College and the USA South Conference membership participating as well. Well, Coach, a lot to catch up on, and would like to start with this 2-game back-to-back road win streak that we had about a week ago, taking on a Methodist, a win there, despite, being shorthanded a bit, and then following that up with a big road win at Greensboro. If we can reflect back on those two victories and just how meaningful that was for this team, to kind of gain some momentum here as we head towards the second half of the USA South Conference schedule.
Yeah, meaningful in a lot of different paths. So for both of those games, let me start with Methodist first. So Methodist, we're without LB for that game. So our leading scorer is not available. Quincy goes down 6 minutes in. Our second leading scorer goes down 6 minutes into that game with an injury. So we're basically playing that whole game without our two leading scorers. And it was a total team effort. I believe we had four guys in double figures in that game, spread from, I don't know, maybe 12 to 15 points. So it was a total team effort, offensively, defensively. Didn't close the game great, but came away with a win. And then we go to Greensboro, and Quincy's still out with his injury. We do have LB back, but off the bench, playing a very good Greensboro team where I think we had four guys in double figures in that game as well, offensively. So, defensively, we played really hard, really well. But for us to be shorthanded, in both of those games from guys that have really put up significant numbers for us throughout the year, and have really everybody step up to contribute, is definitely meaningful, coming on the heels of some pretty disappointing losses as well. To be able to rally back and get those two wins were really huge on the road. And for whatever reason, we've haven't been bad on the road this year. We've been pretty good, and have not been able to get as many in the W column at home for whatever reason that is. We've been pretty solid on the road. So
Yeah, five
those
road
two were.
victories.
Yeah, those two are really, really good, and we needed them to kind of springboard us forward. I know we're going to talk about William Peace here in a minute. The game we just played on Saturday, that was putting us at the halfway point. So, there's still a lot to play for, and we're still not quite at full strength. But we're playing better now than we were a couple weeks ago. So that's good.
William Peace comes to town, number one in the USA South Conference standings. And, I talked to you pregame, Coach, and we knew this was obviously going to be a difficult matchup, one of the top teams going in our region. And Tornadoes hung blow for blow. This thing came down to the final minute. William Peace comes away with the 82-78 victory. Would love to hear your reflection now that we're a couple days removed from this one, Coach.
Yeah, knew it would be a tough game. William Peace, like you said, in first place in the USA South right now, and playing really well, and have won a lot of close games. They have a group that's tasted winning, knows how to make the winning plays in really, really tight games. I don't think they have any. They may have one, but they don't have a lot of very large margins in their victories. They've been pretty close. But proud of our guys. We were down 10 in the second half, 10 with, I think, 4.5, 5 minutes to go, and cut it all the way down to 4, and had a pretty good look at a 3 with a minute to go that would have cut it to 1, and it didn't go down. And then had a pretty good look at a 3 that would have cut it to 1 with about 7 seconds left. It didn't go down either. Proud of our guys for how they fought. You look back on things on those games, and what I've told them so far, I think defensively for us, William Peace is a very strong team. They had two guys combined for 50. Timothy Pettiford and Michael Doolin combined, each had 25 combined for 50. There were some things that we were trying to do in that game that we did not do as effectively as we needed to. And it cost us, I think. When you put up 78 at the house, you like your chances of winning. We just did not get enough stops, and a lot of credit to William Peace for making plays, and they have good players and they have a good plan. Our guys, we fought. We needed to do a few more things a little bit better to come out on top of that game. But it would have been a big one for us to get. Didn't get it. Now we got a big one on the road tomorrow.
Coach, I do just want to mention one individual effort in this William Peace game. Quincy Carter, who was on the bench with a ankle injury, and I would see him walking around campus here with a boot on his ankle. Was able to go in this one, scores 19 points, including 14 in the second half. Big effort, gutsy effort. It looked like from Quincy.
It was, and we needed him. Like I talked about in the other two games, we had other guys step up in the other two where he was not available. We had LB on the bench again for this game against William Peace. So leading scorer was out, and second leading scorer Quincy, was kind of a game time decision. He was able to go and definitely gutted it out. You're still going to see him in the boot. He's still booted up, and will continue to be in a boot for a few more days. But hopefully, I don't anticipate him missing any more game action unless there's some kind of significant regression. But yeah, for him to not have a ton of practice time, be out of the game flow for about a week and be able to step up and give us what he gave us, definitely came at a good time, and we needed every bit of it. Wish we could have got a little bit more from the defensive side, from everybody, not just Quincy, but everybody, just to come out on top with that. But definitely a gutty performance from Quincy.
You mentioned it, Coach. Big one tomorrow at Pfeiffer. What are going to be the keys for the Tornadoes coming away with a victory on the road again?
We're going to have to show up with some more competitive defensive energy than what they saw from us here. I've told several people the game against Pfeiffer here, the second half that we played in that game, I don't think we've played as poorly in 20 minutes that we from what we saw in that second half. We haven't done that in a long time here. It's very disappointing. And our guys know that. They're competitors, and they know it. They've seen it on film, and they know it. So we're going to have to bring a more competitive edge than what Pfeiffer saw from us here. And I think we will. I think we're in a different place now than we were then. That game, team sports, it's interesting, has a way of, things have a way of, you can galvanize around things in a very meaningful way. And while as bad as we played in that game against Pfeiffer, it brought some things to the surface that needed to be addressed, and we've addressed them. I think it's galvanized us in a way. It's refocused us in a way, and I think we're a different team now. So I'm pretty sure Pfeiffer's going to see a different team than what they saw here, and mainly that's going to, I think, be on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll see if I'm right. I'm gonna have to be right for us to have a chance to win. If we're not, then it will be difficult for us to win.
Sounds great, Coach. Best of luck at Pfeiffer tomorrow. And then, folks, be sure to come on out on Saturday, the 28th. That's this Saturday versus Mary Baldwin, 2 p.m. at the Bosch. That's that Coaches versus Cancer game. Next chance to see the Tornadoes at home. Coach, stick with us just a couple more moments here. We're going to invite in two of the men's basketball student athletes. As joining the program now, KK Horton and also Carson Evans. Coach, I'm going to turn it back over to you to help introduce these two to NATO Nation.
All right, so Carson Evans, junior in the program from Charlotte, has been in the starting lineup for a while for us now, and has had some really big games. And I think Carson's a guy when he's got his shot going, I think it energizes the whole group, and we tend to play well when Carson plays well. And so he's played well in a lot of games for us, and we're expecting another good one tomorrow. And then we call him KK Horton. I think he's probably going to get back on here in a minute. He's a local product, sophomore, second year in school, but first year on the court for us, from Asheville Christian here locally. And he did not play much his senior year of high school due to some injuries. Did not play at all his first year in school due to some injuries. And so it's taken him a little while to get his feet under him, I think, get back in kind of game speed and game timing. And he's been playing at a high level now for a handful of games, and has found his way to the starting lineup, and is a very talented player for us. Really good defender, and can create his own shot in a way that a lot of guys on our team aren't able to do that. So both these guys are tremendous players for us. We're going to need big performances from them tomorrow.
Very good, Coach. Well, best of luck at Pfeiffer. We'll see you back here on the Bosch on Saturday, and we'll let you go, Coach. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming on.
Sounds good.
All right, as KK Horton continues to get things organized in the studio, looks like we got you now, KK. You got me
Yes,
loud and
sir.
clear?
Yes, sir.
All right, excellent. Well, join now in that lower box is KK Horton, and as Coach helped introduce, sophomore guard out of Asheville, North Carolina. And then in that upper right corner, Carson Evans, the junior guard from Charlotte. Carson, KK, how you guys doing?
Doing well. How you doing?
Doing
I'm doing
great.
good. I'm doing good. How you doing?
Excellent. It's great to have you guys on here, and we get to talk a little bit of hoops on a Monday night. And Carson, let's start with you. You know, it's been an interesting past couple games for the Tornadoes. You guys got these key road wins in conference play versus Methodist in Greensboro. Then you played the top team in the conference this past weekend, William Peace. That was, just a battle back and forth. Can you kind of catch us up, how you guys are feeling and, how important this past week has been for you guys to get on track and head towards this stretch in USA South Conference play?
Yeah, I think we're headed in the right direction. You know, coming off, we beat Methodist and then we beat Greensboro, so our confidence was at a season high for everybody, and the camaraderie for the team was good. And we came in playing the number one team in William Peace, and we all felt good. And we went, and only lost by 4, but it felt good, and we know like we can hang with William Peace. So I think that helped us boost our confidence. So we know like we can hang with the number one team, any team. So I think our confidence as a team is up right now.
Yeah, KK, anything to add to that as far as, what you've seen from the team these last, few games?
Yeah, like going off back what Carson said, we got 2 wins in a row. We just could have did a little bit better, like guarding William Peace, but we know now like they're the number one team in the conference, and we were able to play with them. So I think everybody on the team has that mindset like we can win, like we're all in.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And KK, you've caught fire these last few weeks. Every time I look up, you're scoring in double figures once again, and you've got this streak going of double figure games. Can you talk about yourself personally? Do you feel like there it is right there, 6 straight games in double figures? That's quite a streak. But I know you more than just score on the court, as does Carson. But can you talk about that as far as like kind of you adding to the point total in all these games?
Yeah, I think it took me a while to, get in the system where I would be able to score, but now I got the flow of it, like my teammates are gonna find me when I'm going, and I'm gonna find my teammates when they're going. So it's just like, I got that flow. I found that flow where I can, just constantly play well.
Yeah, and speaking of scoring, Carson, you had a big output at Oglethorpe right before New Year's Day, career high 20 points at Oglethorpe. I have to be honest, this game kind of, maybe slid under the radar a little bit because it was right around New Year's Eve, and, the entire student body isn't even on campus, except for the basketball teams. And meanwhile, you're putting up 20 in Atlanta. Can you tell us about that night?
Yeah, we went to play Oglethorpe in Atlanta, and it was just a normal day, but I don't know, my shot was falling. I made like 6 threes that game, so every time I shot, it just felt good, and it just went in every time. So it felt good though.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that was really cool to see. Once we got that box score, Joseph Marvin and I were like, "All right, Carson, here we go, 20 points at Oglethorpe. We'll take it." So, meanwhile, KK, let's talk a little bit about your roots. Coach touched on it a bit. Local product just up the road in Asheville. Tell us a little bit about, how you got started, playing basketball, your time in Asheville as far as, your high school career, and then ultimately finding Brevard College.
So I started playing basketball when I was about 12. That's when I took it seriously. And it was just off of like my brother was playing basketball, my oldest brother. And I just like looked up to him. So I was like, I want to play what he plays. And I just kind of fell in love with it then, my high school career, that's when I moved to Asheville. I went to Asheville Christian Academy, a private school where I can get the exposure and play, good people. So my freshman year, I played both JV and varsity. Sophomore year, that's when I started playing varsity. And we were okay. We weren't really winning anything. But my senior year, we actually started off 0-10 in the season, and I missed the first 8 games. and we still came out winning our state championship that year. So that was very cool.
Yeah, outstanding. Then what was the kind of the piece of the puzzle that got you here to Brevard?
It was Brevard was. I committed last minute. It was like during the summer. I took a visit with Coach Miles, and me and Miles were really close. I got to talk to him a lot, and I really loved him as a coach. Came to campus, loved the campus. Met Coach Burgess on campus. I thought Coach Burgess was a great coach. So like just having that feeling of like where you wanted the most. That's where I like felt like I felt like I was wanted here. So that's why I committed.
Same question for you, Carson Evans, out of Charlotte, North Carolina. So not all that far, but you're up here in the mountains now. Tell us about your journey as a basketball player. When did it get serious? Tell us a little bit about your high school career, and then ultimately how you found Brevard.
Yeah, so I started playing basketball when I was like 5, maybe 6, and I got an older brother who's about 3 years older than me. So I grew up watching him play and playing one-on-one with him. So he was kind of like my mentor, and so I grew up playing ball. And when I got to high school, I played JV for 2 years and played varsity for 2 years. And I had a pretty good senior year. So when I was sending out my film, I started connecting with Coach Miles and came up for a visit. And everything was good because like the vibes were good. I like Coach. I like both Coach Miles and Coach Burgess. And Coach Miles, we made a connection because he's from Charlotte and he went to East Mac High School, which is the rival of Butler High School where I went. So everything was good. And I remember on the visit, it was a long visit, and I talked to Coach Miles and talked to Coach Burgess, and the vibes were just great, and I felt wanted. So I felt like it was just a great opportunity for me.
Yeah, and it seems like that Charlotte pipeline starting to, take form a little bit here, Carson, right? Like we have a bunch of guys on the roster from the Charlotte metro area.
We do. Darius, RJ, Charles, Jaden, LB. We got a lot of guys from Charlotte. So I think that's cool. It helps with team chemistry because all of us from Charlotte, it's just like we all connect and we know each other from back home. So it's good though.
Yeah, very cool. Carson, what's going to be the key from this point forward? You guys got a huge game at Pfeiffer tomorrow, and then really coming down the home stretch as teams are really starting to jockey for position, trying to, place themselves in that USA South Conference tournament. What's going to be the key for you guys down the stretch? I know you guys got it going, last week on the road, but tell us what you guys priority-wise is from this point forward.
I think the main priority is staying focused, the home stretch of the season and this conference. So it's like every team, it can go either way. So I think we got to stay focused and lock in on defense. As Coach was talking about earlier, if we all as a team lock in on defense and play energized and stay focused and stay ready for whatever happens, I think we're gonna be straight.
Yeah, KK, I see you nodding your head. Anything to add to that?
Nah, I completely agree with Carson. Like, we have the offensive piece. We have people that can score. We have that piece. I think we just have to really lock in on the defensive side, and I think we're going to be good.
Yeah, no doubt. You guys are certainly showing your potential, hanging blow for blow with the team that's top the USA South Conference this past Saturday at William Peace. That was a fun one, even though, unfortunately, Tornadoes weren't able to pull it out at the end. But, man, what an entertaining ball game that was. You guys a lot to feel good about coming off of that one and, those 2 road wins as well. Well, do want to take us into the classroom a little bit. And KK, we'll start with you. Tell us what you're working on with your studies, what you're majoring in and what you're looking to do with your degree ultimately.
I'm majoring in exercise science. I want to take that path to become a physical trainer, kind of slash coaches. So that's where I'm trying to really go with this study. I'm trying to become a personal trainer or a coach.
Very cool. And same question for you, Carson. What you up to in the classroom?
I'm majoring in physical education and recreation, and right now I'm looking to become maybe a coach or a teacher of some sort. But I do enjoy the sport of basketball, so maybe after playing I could become a coach of some sort. And I have connections, like my cousin, he's coaching in high school, so I could connect with him. And want to stay around the city when I get out of college and be in Charlotte, find a job there.
Very cool. Last one, I always relish the opportunity to talk to a couple basketball players because I get to ask them this. Carson, favorite player, someone you maybe modeled your game after, and also favorite NBA team?
My favorite player has always been Stephen Curry. he's just like generational talent, with his shooting and stuff. And I take pride in my shooting. So favorite player is Steph Curry, and favorite team is the Golden State Warriors.
Same question for you, Horton.
My favorite player is Chris Paul. I try to resemble my game of his, kind of a pass first point guard, love shooting the mid range. My favorite team, that's tough. I really don't have one. I really don't have a favorite team.
Yeah, fair enough. That we don't have an NBA franchise right here in Nashville, so totally understandable. But some great answers from you guys all the way around. Well, before we let you go, do want to give you the opportunity for any shout outs, thank yous, anybody who's helped you along the way, people who might be tuning into this program. Floor is yours, KK Horton. What you got?
I want to shout out my teammates and my coaches, because I think we come a long, long way, and we just keep working. None of us, like I said, we haven't given up. Like, we're still all in. We still believe in ourselves and the team that we can still win. So I just want to give a big shout out to them.
Yeah, well said, KK, and best of luck tomorrow. Safe travels, and really looking forward to seeing you guys take care of business at Pfeiffer. Carson, same opportunity for you. Shout outs or thank yous?
Yeah, first I got to shout out my whole family. I know they probably watching right now, so shout out to y'all, mom, my brother, and all them. But then I got to thank my teammates and my coaches. They all push me to get better every single day. Even on off days, they push me to get in the gym or lift some weights, so I appreciate all of them.
All right, very good. Carson Evans and KK Horton, two of the stars on the Brevard College men's basketball team. These two and the team will head to Pfeiffer tomorrow for a key USA South Conference matchup. Back at home here on Saturday. Hope you can join us here at the Bosch to see these student athletes in action. Carson, KK, thanks for joining the show. Great job tonight, fellas.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right. There they go. And we're going to quickly shift gears to the women's side as we'll bring in head women's basketball coach Donald Hudson into the program. Coach Hudson, thanks for joining the show.
What's going on, Phil? How are you?
Oh, doing great. Yeah, outstanding. Great to be with you once again. And, would love to kind of catch folks up on where we're at with women's basketball. 13-4 overall and 10-1 in the USA South Conference at this juncture of the season. In so many ways that, the record speaks for itself, Coach, but would love to hear from your perspective, kind of at this midpoint of the USA South Conference schedule, where we're at with things.
Yeah, we're right, exactly what you just said, right in the middle. We start to turn, and we're going to start to play teams for the second time now. And so there's going to be something new every year with playing multiple times on both sides. We're going to know what teams are doing. They're going to know what we're doing. So it's going to come down to like a lot of the small things, Phil, a lot of the small things that you kind of take for granted from time to time. Boxing out, getting to loose balls, running clean offense, minimizing your turnovers, and just being intentional about the things that we do. But up until this point, I feel solid about where the team is. We just finished a really tough stretch where we played four games in 6 days. And I feel like I've talked about it a lot because they all were at home, and I've been talking to the Tornado Club and everything. But I really want to shout out my team right here. I don't do this often, but I really want to give kudos to the team for keeping their head down and staying focused throughout that stretch. We were tested physically, we were tested mentally, but they got through it. And we came through it playing some solid basketball. Another huge shout out to the home crowd that we got in every one of those games. Did a really good job of helping us get over the hump. But we're at the point right now where everything the rest of the way is going to be a conference game. And so we got to be playing our best basketball. And I think we're playing okay right now. We're playing okay. We just got to make sure we take care of those small things, Phil.
4 games in 6 days, as you mentioned, and all at home at the Bosch. Started with a 63-46 win over Mary Baldwin back on Friday the 13th. And then Saturday the 14th, quick turnaround. Big matchup against Southern Virginia, two of the top teams in the USA South Conference going at it. And 78-70, the Tornadoes pull away with a huge fourth quarter, outscoring Southern Virginia 29-14 in the fourth to take the victory. And then the Tornadoes will head to Southern Virginia for the rematch on Saturday. Would love to hear your perspective as far as that victory, but also, just this matchup, Tornadoes in Southern Virginia, moving forward, fairly new member in the USA South Conference, but a factor.
Yeah, it is, and they're good. They're talented, and like you said, fairly new members. And this was our first time playing them. My first time matching up with her, and I thought they were well coached. They did some really good things. They made us work for that win. We had a nice fourth quarter. We started to make some shots, and our defense got a little rhythm. We're able to get some stops, get in transition some, make some threes, and run quality offense and get a nice win down the stretch. It was a game that was kind of chippy throughout, and it started early, but that's what you're going to get in conference play when two teams are battling for position and battling for seeding. So I don't expect anything different when we go to their place. I expect their crowd to be really into it. I expect them to have a good home atmosphere, and we're going to it's going to take all 15 of us to get that win. Winning in college is hard. It's even harder on the road, especially when you're playing a good team that's really going to have a lot on their mind when it comes to us. They feel like they probably could have got one. One of their better players didn't play much that game, and I'm pretty sure she's licking her chops for us to come up there too. But we'll be ready. We have a week this week to prepare for them. Had a solid practice this morning. We'll have 4 more. Right now, these next 2 days, we're kind of just working on ourselves, and toward the later end of the week, we'll get into them some. We'll watch the film, make some minor adjustments, nothing too big, but should be a really good game. We're looking forward to traveling up there and playing in a hostile environment, but looking to come out on top.
Yeah, certainly looks like the opportunity is there for the Tornadoes to continue this momentum. And reflecting back once more on that 4-game stretch, Coach, 75-62 win over Warren Wilson, and that was followed up with a 72-62 win over Pfeiffer. This game was interesting throughout, but the Tornadoes end up taking the win. Big day from Michaela Street in particular. She ends up winning the Rookie of the Week that was just announced today by the USA South Conference for her performance, 18 points, but a team effort all the way around. And, I know you had to feel good with that win over Pfeiffer.
It did feel good. It was one that it's the last one of the kind of stretch that we were on, so we had to make sure our focus was there. You can kind of look forward to getting this stretch over and getting a little rest, and you can trip over a step. And we got off to a slow start. Michaela checked into the game, and she was the energy that we needed on both sides. She got a few buckets in transition, got to the basket some, made a few threes, and later in the game, I think we maybe got up 17, 16 points, a nice size lead, but that Pfeiffer team, they play so fast. They play so fast and so open that no lead is really safe. And the way that they kind of chalked our lead down, they've been doing that to everyone that they've played. So they can score really fast. They shoot a lot of threes. They drive it, put a lot of pressure on you. And if they get into the bonus, they're shooting free throws. When they're driving like that, it's hard to keep that in front without fouling. But I thought we did a decent job of internalizing our scouting report and getting a nice home win within the conference. But a good Pfeiffer team. Like, their record doesn't indicate how good they are and how well they've played since the break. They got off to a really slow start, but they changed some things around. And I think what they're doing now suits their personnel better. And it was a tough game. Like, they made it uncomfortable for us. I think they cut it to maybe 7 or 8 with about 6 minutes to go, somewhere in there. So we had to kind of refocus and work our way to the end of the game to get that win.
Very good, Coach. And then, a unusual circumstance, a win via forfeit over William Peace, and then sets us up for this road stretch at Southern Virginia, at Pfeiffer, the next 2, then the next home game versus NC Wesleyan. Coach, you mentioned it before, but having that home crowd behind you certainly creates a boost.
It does. It matters. It really does matter. And we did a good job of taking care of our home court. Now it's time to take our show on the road. With this trip to Southern Virginia, and then at Pfeiffer next Tuesday, and looking forward to coming back home that weekend with NC Wesleyan and Meredith, I think, coming up that
Correct.
Following weekend. So these next 4 are super important. The most important is the next one. It's us versus Southern Virginia.
Yeah, no doubt. So at Southern Virginia this weekend, then at Pfeiffer, then as the graphic indicates there, BC versus NC Wesleyan Friday, February the 3rd at the Bosch. Coach, we mentioned Michaela Street, USA South Conference Rookie of the Week. That was, announced just earlier today. Great news there. But, not just Michaela, but, so many parts of this team have added towards this success. A strong freshman class, just so many weapons it seems like the Tornadoes have this year, and on kind of all phases of basketball. Before we let you go, Coach, kind of if you can sort of summarize the makeup of this year's team, and how you guys can come at teams in so many different directions.
Yeah, we're getting nice contributions from everyone that checks into the game. And it may not be things that always show up on the box score and the stat sheet, but we're getting some good contributions throughout the team. And what that does is it eases the pressure off of one or two people to have to go shoulder the load to go score it. We have 6 or 7 players, I kid you not, Phil, that could possibly get double digits on any given night. Not saying they all will get it in the same night, but any given night, we have a few players that can go off and make some shots and give us a scoring punch that we need. You hinted at Michaela getting us all to a really good start against Pfeiffer, but it's not just her. We have more that can come in and check into the game and give us a shot that we need. And it's not just the offensive end. We have some kids that can really defend too. So I'm happy with where the team is right now. We're not satisfied. We want to continue to play well and just see where this takes us, Phil. We want to make sure every time we take the floor that we're getting better in some way, whether it be a practice, a game, or a shoot around. We want to continue to go forward and get better. And I like what the team is doing right now.
Very good. Well, best of luck, Coach, in these next couple road games. We'll be following every step of the way. And thanks for joining us this evening. Before we let you go, would like you to stick around just a couple more moments as we invite in the women's basketball student athletes who've made their way to the Tornado Talk studios, as Aysha Short and Christena Rhone have joined the program. Coach, before we let you go, help NATO Nation get to know these outstanding student athletes even better.
Yeah, Aysha Short and Christena Rhone, as you kind of just introduced them. I don't know how many people know this, but they're cousins. They're cousins and 2 really phenomenal ladies. They do a really good job of making sure the team spirit is high, and they're a pleasure to coach. I look forward to watching them grow over the next 2 or 3 years. And they both are contributing on both sides of the ball. They both can play some point for us and both can play off the ball. So they bring a lot of versatility and things that we need. Both good shooters. Aysha can really get after you, defending you. And Christina's coming into her own, coming off an ACL injury. But I look forward to what the rest of the season holds for both of them as far as their futures, not just on the court, but off the court as well. They do a good job of taking care of their business. And I'm really glad they chose to come here.
Very good. Well, we're pleased that they're Tornadoes as well, and we're equally pleased that they joined us tonight for Tornado Talk. Can't wait to get to know them further. Coach, thanks for joining us this evening. We'll see you around the Bosch, and best of luck again on these upcoming road games.
Absolutely, Phil. It's always a pleasure. Have a good night, ladies.
You too.
All right, there goes Coach Hudson, and joined now by Christena Rhone in the bottom square here on Tornado Talk. Christena, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And then also with us, Aysha Short in that upper right location. Aysha, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. It's great to have you two on. And, I didn't know you guys were cousins until I talked to Coach Hudson over the weekend. And you guys this is a first for Tornado Talk. We've had a lot of episodes of Tornado Talk over the years. This is the first time we've had 2 cousins on the show at the same time. So we're making some history here. But Aysha, let's talk about that a little bit. How cool is it for you to have a family member as part of your team here on the women's basketball team and a fellow student here at Brevard College?
I think it's really cool. We've been playing together for a really long time, since elementary school. We've always lived close to each other. So, it's not out of the normal, but it is exciting to share, these experiences throughout our school years together.
Yeah, and Christena, tell us from your perspective. Aysha has been here a year longer than you here at Brevard College, but how does it feel to have her as a resource, and of course, have to have family here on campus?
It was great. I miss playing with her, so being able to play with her again is just amazing feeling to have.
Yeah, Christena Rhone out of Morganton, North Carolina, and Aysha Short also out of Morganton. Now, what's interesting is, I know you guys, I talked to Christena a little bit before the show, started at the same high school, but eventually became actually rivals on the court, by the end of your high school career. Aysha, tell us a little bit about that as far as, you guys, being teammates at certain points of your career, including now, but also having faced off against each other in high school.
Well, it was like my own personal decision to choose to move high schools, but like we always keep a good positive attitude towards each other, even if we're on opposing teams, and we still support each other even from opposing sides.
Yeah, and do you remember those games, Christena, when you actually were had a different jersey than your cousin Aysha?
Yeah, they were hard because it's your cousin. You don't want to beat your cousin, but things happen.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're competitors at the same time. Well, it's great to have you guys on here. Aysha, tell us a little bit about this year's team. You guys have been putting up some great results. We can certainly tell when y'all are clicking on all cylinders. But tell us a little bit about this year's team and how your experience has been now a second-year player here at Brevard.
Well, it has changed since we now have a much younger team, but it is positive, a positive change, and I'm grateful to have the experience with the group of girls that I am having it with, and we've changed like our mentality and how we get after each other this year. I feel like we're far more competitive in practices, and we all, realize what each other are capable of and where we can go. So I feel like that's been a really big change that has been made this year as well.
Yeah, and
versus last year.
Aysha, yeah, well said. And most recently, this win over Pfeiffer, you kind of came alive a little bit. Really got hot with the three-pointers made, 11 points in total, and helped the Tornadoes in that win over Pfeiffer. Can you talk about your offensive game and how you felt that day in particular?
Oh yeah. Well, that day, I just was taking, I was trying to take good quality shots, and they were actually falling that day. And sometimes my offense is off, sometimes it's on, and I just try to be patient and play to the best of my ability every game, no matter the circumstances of if I'm making the shots or missing them.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. It's a great mentality to have, so you don't get caught up in any sort of drought or anything like that. You keep on doing what you do. And meanwhile, Christena, career high 4 assists over Pfeiffer. Every game it seems like we're getting to know you more and more minutes, and also more contributions. And you've come back from a substantial injury. Tell us a little bit about your season, how you feel now, and how it feels to being able to really contribute on the court.
I mean, it feels great being able to play again because it does get challenging sometimes having to work with being able to move different. But my teammates help me, coaches help me. We got a great athletic trainer, Andrew, that's always working me. And I don't know, it's like being out there, they just make me better.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And, career high 4 assists in that win over Pfeiffer. Can you talk about that game, Christena, and, how you felt, as far as, be able to, become part of the offense there with those 4 assists?
I mean, it was good. I played point guard my whole life, and I always been used to assisting people and getting people open. So even if my offensive game wasn't sharp, I know I have my teammates that don't carry for me.
You did score a career high 10 points versus Warren Wilson, so you're able to find the bottom of the net in that one. Can you kind of recall that? And did you realize you had tallied up double figures along the way?
Not really. I was just I seen the open gap, so I was like, maybe if I drive it, I get something. So
Yeah, and indeed, and you guys continue your winning ways. Aysha, what's going to be the key moving forward as far as, continuing, the momentum, the high quality of play? It's only going to get tougher and tougher as, the stakes get higher in conference play.
Well, our team is definitely going to have to remain focused. And I think that's like what would be most important for us is to focus on, where we can go and how much we've already accomplished over this season. And, sticking together, even when, we're being challenged and it's getting a little hard, everybody's getting tired, worn down. Us sticking together and remaining focused is what's going to help us to be successful.
Yeah, in Aysha, how about as far as on the road? You guys, next up is this trip to Southern Virginia. You got to see them here, but it's a whole different deal when you go on the road. What's the key to victories on the road?
On the road, we just have to be able to, realize, sometimes those long travels, they're tiring and whatnot, but we know how to play basketball at the end of the day, and we know how to go in there and do what we have to do, take care of business, and get back on the road again.
Very good. And also with us, Christena, Rhone. Are you looking forward to these upcoming games? And, as the intensity gets that much higher, Christena, is this something you look forward to?
Oh yes, I have always loved high intense games. Like I feel like that's when the best comes out of me, and like the pencil. Yeah, I feel like it'd be good for a team with these high intense games and make us really better.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the stakes just get higher and higher each week in the USA South Conference, and can't wait to continue to watch this amazing journey of this year's women's basketball team. Aysha, let's take things into the classroom. What have you been working on academically? Have you selected a major, and tell us what some of your goals are there.
So I still have not declared a major, but I am thinking about minoring in psychology. I had originally thought about majoring in psychology, and I'm not fully like, I feel like I haven't found what I'm very passionate about yet. So I'm taking some different classes this semester to try and help me figure out if I want to change my major or go in a different direction to help me in that.
Very good. Well, perfect time to do exactly that, and lots of offerings here at Brevard College to explore. And Christena, Rhone, freshman year here at Brevard College. Have you zeroed in on a major, and what have been some of the classes perhaps that you've taken here in this freshman year that you've enjoyed?
Oh yeah, I decided to major in business and organization leadership with a minor in astronomy. And some of the classes I took have been like business and science classes that lead me towards them ways.
Very good. Well, really looking forward to continuing to watch you guys, as student athletes here at Brevard College, and can't wait to see you back on the Boshemer Gymnasium court and also on these road trips coming up. But before we let you go, do want to give you opportunities for any shout outs or thank yous, anybody who's helped you along the way, anybody you just want to say what's up to. The floor is yours, Aysha Short.
Okay, my shout outs go to my family, my team, and my coaches, as well as, people around the school who helped me out. I'm just very grateful for them putting trust in me and, wanting the best for me, and pushing me to be the best that I can be.
Very good. And do want to give a shout out to Aysha. She's part of our sports information crew here as well. And she's helped behind the scenes quite a bit with a lot of our productions, especially during the fall. She's busy with basketball these days, but she helped a lot with a lot of our games. So thank you for that, Aysha. Great job there as well. And Christena, Rhone, same opportunity for you. Shout outs or thank yous.
Oh yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my family too, and the coaches and the athletic trainers and all the support from home and here for my friends.
Very good. Well said. Well, great job this evening, ladies. Christena, Rhone, and Aysha Short, cousins. We made history here on Tornado Talk with the first appearance by cousins at the same time. And it's been great to get to know you guys better and introduce you that much further to NATO Nation. Best of luck with these upcoming games. Can't wait to see you around the Bosch.
Thank you.
All right. Aysha Short and Christena Rhone, appreciate them joining the program. And we're going to switch gears now as we're going to head towards some, sports business in many ways and athletic administration, and bringing in Caelyn Murphy and JaMarcus Walker. These are two members of the SAAC executive board here at Brevard College. Caelyn Murphy, thanks for joining the program.
Thank you.
And JaMarcus Walker has joined us once again as well. JaMarcus, thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
Well, Caelyn is the secretary of SAAC here at Brevard College. JaMarcus is the president of SAAC. If you're not familiar with SAAC, Student Athlete Advisory Committee. And before we get into, kind of the timing of why we're having you guys on tonight, I do want to talk a little bit about just SAAC in general. And JaMarcus, we'll start with you. When someone, stops you, at the coffee shop and says, "Hey, JaMarcus, what is SAAC? And what do you guys do exactly?" How do you answer that?
So I basically tell them like SAAC gives the student athletes a voice, and we're able to put on a lot of events for student athletes on campus and also the non-student athletes on campus. And if any student athlete has a problem, they can go to their SAAC, and then we can go figure out the problem or find a solution for that problem. So SAAC really just gives a voice for student athletes, and it provides support for the student athletes.
And Caelyn, specifically here at Brevard College, what are some of the things you all have been working on at SAAC?
SAAC organizes a lot of stuff around the school. A lot of the athletes probably remember Trick or Treat for Cans. That was actually a lot bigger than just Brevard College. All of USA South did it. We're doing that right now, or we did that. And right now we're planning Pennies for a Purpose. And it's just a lot of this year it's been a lot of community service things like that, where we're trying to get teams involved and come back after COVID years where we couldn't do things like that. So Trick or Treat for Cans was a big push for us with Cancer Cross Conference, and we came, I think, third, correct me if I'm wrong, second or third in the conference. So it paid off, and we hope to make some of the same moves with Pennies for a Purpose and anything else we do this year. So
Yeah, and Caelyn, you're a member of the volleyball team here at Brevard College, a volleyball student athlete. And, SAAC has representation at Brevard from every sport, so there's representatives from every sport. How important is that to kind of get the full range of student athletes, regardless of sport?
Majorly. I didn't really know what to expect. This is my first year in SAAC, but just having a voice for everybody so that it's not just the team with the most athletes on it or the team that wins the most awards. It's like everybody gets to come together and talk about problems and solutions, and SAAC is made up of everybody. So I think forcing groups like that to kind of work together, we mesh really well, better than you would think we would. So it's really pays off to have some of those kind of the sports that might get glossed over sometimes, but they really do matter in SAAC. So
very good. Caelyn Murphy and JaMarcus Walker with us. Now, the reason we wanted you guys on specifically this week is recently you all just returned here to the mountains of North Carolina, Western North Carolina, from San Antonio, Texas, of all places, where the two of you attended the NCAA convention. And for those not familiar, this is like the big deal, the biggest of big deals when it comes to college athletics. The NCAA convention, college presidents, college athletic directors, all sorts of, major heavy hitters in the sports industry coming together to get a lot of business accomplished at the NCAA convention. And the two of you represented Brevard College as members of SAAC, also represented the USA South Conference. And JaMarcus, we'll start with you, kind of your overall, sort of thoughts now that you've had a few days back here on campus and able to reflect back on this meaningful experience for you personally, but also, what you all were able to accomplish as a group.
Like the convention this year was a mind blowing experience. Like I went last year and had a good time, and this year was an even better time. And it was good to see catch up with some old friends that I met at the previous convention, and then also I got to get a lot of new experiences that I wasn't able to do at the first convention. So it was really fun. I wish it lasted a couple more days so we could still be there in San Antonio. But now I'm glad to be back and finishing out the semester.
And Caelyn, when you reflect back on it, what are some of the big memories for you?
Yeah, so I'd never been before, so everything was new to me. Um, it was just a great experience all around. My biggest kind of takeaways just were seeing the business sessions and how decisions get made. That was like really eye-opening. We got to meet Jim Nance, and I had a little fangirl moment. I have not shut up about that since I got back, but the business sessions were really like, they seemed like they would be the most boring, but it was the most like interesting, just seeing like the democracy of decisions being made in D3. And it was just, I was grateful to have been there for that.
All right, I'm not going to let that one slip away. This Jim Nance, moment. So Jim Nance, of course, the longtime broadcaster for CBS. I mean, this guy's called Super Bowls, the Final Four, the Masters every year, and meanwhile, the USA South Conference SAAC is suddenly hanging out with the guy and taking a photograph with him. Caelyn, how did all this go down?
So it was actually an award ceremony that we were at, like a luncheon thing. And Miranda would probably kick me if I didn't mention that Muffet McGraw was on first. And she actually gave a really great speech. I was really grateful to see that too. But she went on and got an award. And then he went right after her, gave a speech. And I know Miranda and I cried. And like some of the people at our table cried because it was an amazing speech. And all of us were like, oh my gosh, that's Jim Nance. And we were in one of the tables closer to the stage where he like walked down and sat with his family and stuff afterwards. And I like looked at the girl next to me. She was from NC Wesleyan, and we were like, we're gonna go talk to him after this. And we kind of, like, as soon as they said that the lunch was over, we all, like, our whole table, like half of USA South stood up and like kind of probably scared him. Like we charged his table and we were like, hey. And he shook my hand, this one right here. And it was really great. And he spoke with us, and we got to have a little short conversation with him because people were also trying to get pictures with him. But and he took a picture with us. So it was really awesome. It was just like incredible.
Yeah, very cool. Muffet McGraw and Jim Nance, that two of the big award winners at the event. Also, I was talking to you, JaMarcus, a little. Peyton Manning won an award too, so you got to see him up close and personal. And as you kind of take a step back, these moments, JaMarcus, as far as being able to see people you see on television all the time, they're kind of surreal when they happen, but it's it comes with the territory when you're at a place like the NCAA convention.
Yeah, definitely. It gives me a chance to brag to some people. I've met a few famous folks dealing with the NCAA, so it's definitely great to see Peyton Manning and Andy Katz and Muffet McGraw, everyone.
Yeah, no doubt. And you guys did a great job representing Brevard. Also there was President Bradley J. Andrews, Brevard College CFO and athletic director report, also women's soccer coach Juan Mascaro. You mentioned Miranda Nash, Caelyn, the athletic director here, faculty athletic rep Josh Wilkie, and also senior woman administrator Kristen Rosado. And then from the USA South, really want to thank them for really creating this opportunity. Commissioner Tom Hart, Associate Commissioner Mike Christie, and also Taylor Anderson handling the social media. Caelyn touched on a little bit, JaMarcus, but as far as like the business side of this, and when you're literally sitting in some of the legislation as it's going down, whether it's the NCAA or USA South, tell us about that experience and what that's like to be in the room when these sort of in some ways life-altering decisions are being made.
Yeah, it was definitely the most interesting part of the entire trip. I was able to do a lot of things with the national SAAC as well, and I was able to see some of my colleagues actually go up and present like statements on why they think there should be a vote on a certain legislative rule or not. And it was definitely was definitely really interesting to see everyone with like different opinions. The room was filled like a 1,000+ people, like different colleges from all across the Division III nation, and it was really nice to see this people go back and forth, share their opinions, and get their thoughts on the new changes within the NCAA.
Yeah, and you all were part of the USA South Conference initiative to bring representatives from the membership of the USA South to the NCAA convention. What was that like, Caelyn, as far as getting to know these student athletes from, in some ways rival schools of Brevard College, but, not just the ones from the USA South, but, you also, I'm sure, got to meet folks from all over the country.
Yeah, it was kind of surreal. I was hanging out with USA South the whole time. So just getting to meet, it's like night one with like icebreakers and stuff, talking to them was really interesting. And it took us all a while to kind of open up to each other, because it feels like counterintuitive to be like buddies with these people, especially like there were a lot of volleyball players there, and it was people that I've like watched film on them, and Coach Abby's been like, okay, we're gonna target her or whatever, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so odd that like we kind of made friends while we were there. And it made me realize like that was like when I took myself out of like my little bubble, and I was like, I'm not just here like for the volleyball team, and I'm not just here with Brevard, I'm here like as a USA South representative, just like everybody else in our group. And it was like it was crazy, just like, you're not my enemy today, we're like a unit right now. It was pretty cool.
And JaMarcus, anything to add to that as far as, these relationships and these friendships that you're making with, fellow student athletes from the USA South Conference and also, throughout the NCAA?
Yeah, I was definitely glad we got the opportunity to meet some other people within the USA South. Like, we're always playing these other teams, but there's probably like no one we know on these other teams. And now we finally get to meet other people from other schools that are also passionate about SAAC and their sport. It was really fun. I actually got to meet a guy from Pfeiffer that I played in tennis, and I was like, now I still talk to him often. And it's like, now we're friends. And I just played him last year, and they unfortunately got the win, but it was good to catch up with him and see what he does for his own campus SAAC. And then my national SAAC colleagues, it was great. It's great to see them and great to see what they do on their different campuses all across the world. The country. And it was surreal moments.
Very cool. One more kind of business matter I'd like to run past you, JaMarcus. Then we're going to get to really the fun stuff of the trip. The new president of the NCAA, Charlie Baker, who the governor of the state of Massachusetts, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is what they call it up there. But yeah, a governor of Massachusetts who will become the new NCAA president. He was a student athlete once upon a time at Harvard, and you all were able to experience one of his very first interactions with the NCAA and the NCAA membership, in an address, at the convention. JaMarcus, tell us a little bit about, your takeaways from that and what that was like to kind of be in the room. I mean, I don't think he's done all that many interviews or, has even really officially even started the job. But here he was. You guys were kind of some of the first ones out of the gate to get to hear from him. What did you hear from the new president of the NCAA?
Yeah, it was really great to hear from him. My biggest takeaways from every time that I heard him speak was that he was really committed to student athletes. And I feel like with the way the world is now within the NCAA, is really good to have someone that we know we can trust as our president of the NCAA, and someone who's actually committed and wants to see change within the NCAA. And overall, he seems like a really good guy. And he's really tall. I don't know if you've seen him, but I stood next to him and I was looking up, and I'm like 6'1", so it's crazy. But I'm definitely glad the search committee chose a great person, and I really feel like he's going to be committed to the student athletes.
Very cool. Good to hear. Well, let's get to the fun stuff, Caelyn. There's a couple of, you got to experience San Antonio in a lot of ways, beyond, your busy time at the convention itself. Before we get to kind of the main event, this deal that went down at the Alamo Dome, you all visited the Alamo, the actual Alamo. Tell us about that, Caelyn.
So that was like that was something that was on like everybody's radar. Everybody was like, we have to go see the Alamo. And we found out how close it was to our hotel. And there was one night when we had like a couple hours of free time between stuff that we had to go to. So we all went back to the hotel and changed, and we all, like USA South, the people we were talking about, walked, and we got there and we were like, this is it. It's like just a little building, and but we all got a picture in front of it. It was like for sure a bucket list thing that we all had to do while we were there, and it was pretty cool. It was just kind of, we did it.
Yeah, and everybody, Caelyn talks about the Riverwalk at San Antonio as just a great attraction as well. You all got to experience that also?
Yeah, we got to go. They're actually not far from each other. So we went to Alamo, we went to Riverwalk, walked around and went to the little like jug shops and got the Don't Mess with Texas t-shirts and stuff. And we got Mexican food on Riverwalk. That was great. We did all the when you're in San Antonio, you have to do these things. We got the whole list taken care of. So, but yeah, Riverwalk was beautiful. We all got pictures out there. It was a cool scene to be at.
Outstanding. And then happening the same weekend as the NCAA convention, Warriors at Spurs, but at a special location at the Alamo Dome. And they set a record for the largest crowd ever at an NBA game. And you two, along with the group from the USA South, was able to experience this in person. JaMarcus, tell us about the basketball game.
Oh, it was an amazing experience. When I first heard that we were going like months ago, that's all that was on my mind the entire time. And as we were walking up to the arena, I was like just looking at it. I was like, this is ridiculous. I would never expect that many people at an NBA game. And once you walk in, got to your seat, it was like a unreal feeling, just like to just be around like thousands of people and just be able to see the court and all the players and all the like, just feel the history that's been in that building. Like with me being a big NBA fan, I was definitely like thinking about some of the great games that's taken place there and some of the funny moments and things like that's happened at the Alamo Dome. So I was really glad we were able to be part of that game and part of the history.
Yeah, and Caelyn, your impressions, you all, you're in these sessions with all these, administrators of sport, and then you get to attend this huge sporting event.
It was pretty awesome. I did not know the magnitude of like how big a deal the game was until we were on the flight to San Antonio and JaMarcus told me about it. And I was like, oh, cool. But then it seriously was like he said, you got there and it was like just the energy was like unreal. All the Spurs fans were like so pumped. And I don't know, I love the energy at programs anyway like that. But it was like you could tell that everybody was like bringing it because it was such a big deal when we got there. And they were like playing footage from when they used to play in the Alamo Dome. And you could tell it was a huge deal for Spurs fans that hadn't been there in years and breaking the record of most people. It was just like, we were all like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Well, do want NATO Nation to get to know each of you just a tad before we let you go too. And JaMarcus, catch us up on where you're at, with your studies. You're a tennis student athlete, so you're on the eve of that season as well. And then, also, your goals as far as, post-graduation, what you're looking to do.
So I'm a business and organizational leadership major with a minor in coaching, and I'm currently in my last semester, so I'm a little excited about that. Kind of nervous as well, but it'll all work out in the end. But yeah, when the semester's over, I just plan on going to grad school somewhere. I don't really know where yet, but I don't really care. Just go out and explore the country. It'll be nice for me. And yeah, we're starting practice for tennis season, and we're getting ready for these matches coming up, and it's going to be a really good season. You don't want to miss out.
Yeah, and I do want to mention JaMarcus has been interning with the Department of Athletics here at Brevard College, also working closely with head women's basketball coach Donald Hudson to really learn kind of the inner workings and the inside of how coaching works from behind the scenes and how the operations of a basketball program works behind the scenes. So great job with all that as well, JaMarcus. Appreciate your efforts there. And Caelyn, tell us about your studies. Your career as a student athlete here. You're on the volleyball team, but also what your goals are academically here at Brevard College.
Yeah, volleyball's been great. It's been kind of chill since we got back because we're not in season right now, but we just had a meeting the other day. Looking forward to spring season. We got our schedule laid out, competition days, all just looking forward to starting at the end of February. So, and then academics wise, I'm agricultural education, so not even close to sports related, but I'm really excited. It's something I've always been passionate about. And after Brevard, I will be hopefully a teacher and teaching high school. Don't know where yet, don't know what subject yet, but I'm looking forward to working in an ag program and having students. And a year from now, I'll be student teaching and in like almost the full swing of education and stuff. So I'm really excited.
Outstanding. Well, before we let you go, I do want to give you each the opportunity to, kind of sum up this experience at the NCAA convention, and anybody you may want to, thank as far as, this opportunity, but also just your total experience as, a student athlete here at Brevard College and as a member of the USA South and the NCAA. JaMarcus, the floor is yours.
Like to summarize my experience, it was mind blowing, and hopefully this won't be my last convention that I go to, but definitely it was a mind blowing experience. But I just want to shout out my mom and the rest of my family out there watching, the athletic department here who's helped me with so many different opportunities and eye opening experiences. And also I want to shout out a former member of the athletic department here, Stephanie Johnson, who is one of my biggest mentors right now. She's really pushing me to do better and continue to grow within, like, as a person and in the world of athletics.
Well said. Well done, JaMarcus Walker. Caelyn, same opportunity for you. Shout outs and thank yous.
Yeah, so I guess just everybody that you mentioned before, our athletic staff, Miranda, Riz, everybody that came to the convention with us, they were great. My coaches, Abby and Brittany, for appointing me SAAC rep this year. So I wouldn't have been here if they never made me SAAC rep. So, and then, yeah, just my family, my parents always supported me and made me feel like I could do anything. So I probably would have never put my name on the exec voting sign up if I didn't have that kind of support in my life. So.
Well said. And as you mentioned, big thank yous to the USA South Conference, in particular, Commissioner Tom Hart, and also Associate Commissioner Mike Christie, really, making this a reality for all these student athletes throughout the conference. Really appreciate the opportunity, and great job to each of you, Caelyn Murphy and JaMarcus Walker. You guys represented Brevard College fabulously. You represented the USA South Conference well, and I'm just so pleased that you all got so much out of the experience on a personal level and able to, have this, for the rest of your life and the rest of your careers, wherever you may end up. This experience is always there for you. So great job this evening. Also, Caelyn Murphy and JaMarcus Walker, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there they go. And that wraps up another edition of Tornado Talk. Really appreciate all of our guests this evening. You most recently heard from Caelyn Murphy and JaMarcus Walker of the SAAC Executive Board here at Brevard College. We also had head women's basketball coach Donald Hudson, student athletes Christena Rhone and Aysha Short from the women's basketball team. And we opened the show with head men's basketball coach Lee Burgess, and also had KK Horton and Carson Evans on the show as well. And want to thank you, NATO Nation, for tuning in to another edition of Tornado Talk. Be sure to follow the Tornadoes on social media at BC Tornadoes on Instagram and Twitter, and like that Brevard College Tornado Athletics Facebook page. And be sure to check out the YouTube page and subscribe and like to that as well. That's where you'll get all the home competition as well. So look forward to seeing you soon. Check those spring sports schedules and hope to maybe see you here at Brevard College for an upcoming Tornado Athletics event. Thanks again for tuning in. Go Tornadoes.